The rivalry between Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and Senator Ovie Omo-Agege is heating up. Now, recently, the governor called out Omo-Agege's criticism of his administration as a manifestation of ignorance and lack of knowledge of government's workings. The two have been at odds since the 2023 governorship election, which Governor Oborevwori won. Omo-Agege and of the All Progressives Congress candidate then challenged the election results, but the Supreme Court ultimately dismissed his appeal and affirmed the victory of Governor Sheriff. Now, this disagreement has continued, with Omo-Agege accusing the People's Democratic Party of abandoning certain parts of the state for over 25 years. Governor Oborevwori's administration has responded, highlighting the governor's achievements and accusing Omo-Agege of being an idle politician trying to distort reality. The Delta State government has also defended the governor, which of course at some point he bagged the Governor of the Year award, citing his fiscal discipline and innovative approach to governance. Well, joining me to discuss this and more is Charles Aniagwu, is the Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Delta State. He joins me virtually. It's a privilege and a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time, Mr. Aniagwu.
Thank you very much, Dapo. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Good evening. Now, let me start by reading just an excerpt of, part of the many things Senator Omo-Agege, recently said as regards the governor of Delta State. In his words, he said the government under Oborevwori is not doing anything and has neglected the people of southern and northern senatorial districts. Let me stop there. I mean, right now he's saying that the governor of the state is not the governor for everyone in Delta. That seems to be the insinuation. What's your reaction, sir?
Well, thank you very much, Dabo, for the privilege to come and shed light on the developments in Delta. And for us in Delta, we believe that the three senatorial districts are one, and Oborevwori is carrying everybody, taking advantage of the more agenda, which speaks to the issues of meaningful development, opportunities for all, realistic reforms, as well as enhanced peace and security. And all these aspects of his agenda resonates very, very clearly across the 25 local government areas, which could be found in the three senatorial districts. And so the tactics of our brother, the former deputy president of the Senate, is to live in the past, where they always want to divide the state and want to create an impression that Mr. A is not the brother of Mr. B. We have, under Oborevwori, been able to ensure that the different ethnic groups in our states unite very, very cooperatively in such a way that Oborevwori is carrying on as if there are no divides at all. He has been able to erase those divides, taking advantage of his mode of appointment, his approach to governance, his distribution of projects. So anybody who says that there is any of the senatorial districts or anywhere, even local government, that is being left behind, we want to see that aspect of the state that the person is talking about. We have made it very, very clear that Oborevwori will continue to respond to some of these unfounded critics with projects, and that is what he's doing. And I can shock you that to let you know that just about a few days ago, we were in the southern senatorial district, specifically in Warri, which is our commercial nerve center, and our people gave us a word for them, and they said, Sheriff, they show workings, and they say not be cho, which means the man is showing what he's doing, and what he's doing is very visible to the people.
Can you just quickly...
And it is not a question of talking.
Okay, I mean, if I just to repeat what you said that the people of that district did say, Sheriff, they show workings, not be cho. Can you just, identify maybe 3 or 4 of these workings?
Now, I would have preferred that you bring it down to local government, but since you have not done that, let me now take you to the southern senatorial districts, where they were kind enough to give us a proper global response to those who want to paint pictures that are at variance with reality. In the course of last week, the governor inspected a lot of projects, starting from the technical college at Omadino. Omadino is in Warri South local government area. It's a very huge technical college that could pass for a university. That technical college is almost ready for students to resume. We are hopeful that by September this year, the students will resume in that particular institution. Oborevwori have done wonders in that technical college. The storm drainages, which is aimed at deflooding Warri town, are also being pursued vigorously. Phase 1 of it is almost 75% done. We are progressing speedily with phase 2 and phase 3. We inspected those projects. The stadium in Warri, we have also gone ahead to approve the remodeling of that stadium. It's almost to the tune of about 30-something billion naira, also in Warri South. The different bridges that you've heard about that Julius Berger is constructing could also be found in parts of Warri, which is still in the south, and then of course part of Udu and Uwe, both of them in the central and senatorial districts. But when we progressed from that place, we proceeded to a place called Bomadi, and there is a road called Ohoro-Bomadi. It's a 47-kilometer stretch of road. Along that 47-kilometer stretch, we are working on over 30 kilometers of that road with a whole lot of accompanying culverts to allow water to flow from the eastern and western flank of that particular corridor. That road is being pursued vigorously. The contractor has assured us that by September, is most likely to conclude the construction of that stretch. And that is also a road that connects 5 different local government areas: Ughelli North, Ughelli South, Patani, Bomadi, and Burutu. All of them are being connected. And so when you move away from that, you decide to move to Warri Southwest. We have also approved the construction of Omo-Agege and Alaja stretch road. That road connects both the central to the southern senatorial districts. We are working on Okontu-Ogulaha Road, which is about 12.5 kilometers, cleaned up in the heart of the coastal communities. At the same time, we have also awarded Pepiama, Kukodiabene, and Kerokrenkuku. That particular one is also about 18 kilometer stretch. I am mentioning just a number of projects in the southern senatorial districts. If you also go to Bomadi, we have also approved the construction of Bomadi Barigolo. I'm mentioning them so that you can challenge the deputy president of the Senate, former, on whether what we are saying are not truths on ground.
But let's also talk about, let's talk about, I mean, you've mentioned infrastructural projects, which of course it's very, very, applaudable.
They are more than that. It's an issue of time. Far more than that. It's just issue of time.
Which is fantastic. But what is the government also doing about the cost of living? Because we know that Delta State, when it comes to revenue generation, Delta State is doing absolutely well. But the poverty index, seems to be a bit stiff. So what is being done to address, the cost of living, to improve homes and lives, at the micro level right now in Delta, aside infrastructure?
Well, thank you very much. But when you go and look at the statistics of the National Bureau of Statistics, you will understand that in terms of standard of living, Delta ranks very, very high amongst the 36 states and the federal capital territory. And so what we have done to be able to add value to our people and improve their standard of living is that a number of these jobs we are talking about, the funds for the construction, for the execution of these jobs are not flying through the moon. Oborevwori has demonstrated a whole lot of accountability. There are a number of indigenous contractors that are also engaged. But mind you, we are not only working on roads. I've mentioned Omadino. Omadino is a technical school. In all the local governments that we have either primary schools or secondary schools that we are renovating or revamping. We have about 150 health centers that we're also renovating and at the same time revamping. All these ones are being done by Deltans and a number of indigenous contractors who are being able to see that this contract are executed. Our business is to ensure that they do it creditably and in line with the BOQ. So the funds that we pay through these projects don't go to the moon. They go to Deltans, and they themselves also spend it in the market. So as a state, we also have a whole lot of programs aimed at empowering our people through some of our skill acquisition programs. We have an office dedicated to issue of job creation, and we have a chief job creation officer. We have different departments that are handling programs aimed at empowering our people. So we are tackling poverty from both more like the carrot and stick approach, as well as the soft end of it. The soft end of it is where we are ensuring that the individuals are trained and empowered, while at the same time we are carrying on these projects that not only enhance the livability of our people in these different communities, but put funds at their disposal. So when you talk about standard of living, Delta ranks very, very high amongst the Committee of States in our country. And under the Oborevwori administration, where we have not borrowed a penny since he came in, we are made clear that we are solvent and that we are financing our projects. Today, as I speak to you, Dapo, Delta, you can fact check me, is the only state where every contract we are awarding, we are making available 40% mobilization. The reason why we are doing it is because we don't want to have excuse of cost of funds or maybe one bank disappointing a contractor. And that is why it is even difficult these days to have anybody who wants to say he wants to sell his project, because government makes the funds available for you to execute those projects. And the reason why Oborevwori is going that way is because we have seen the dangers of continuous review, upward review of projects on account of fluctuation in the value of our currency, which invariably have also triggered some form of inflationary trend along the line of the cost of the rate of items. And so to avoid that, we ensure the contractor has funds and for him to be able to proceed with speed. And so we are now seeing where contractors are able to execute road contracts in less than 3 months, rather than having to stay for 3 years for just 2 or 3 kilometers of road. So the governor was very clear on the fact that our brother, the former deputy president of the Senate, had demonstrated a whole lot of ignorance when he made that speech. Can you imagine somebody comparing some flyovers of about 2 span or 3 span in some other states to a flyover of about 12 span? That is the difference between one column and the other. You have it in that order about 12, 13, and you are comparing it to one. We also have expansion of the roads that where you have about 4 lanes on each side, which means we are building a road, a dual carriage, that have 8 lanes. So when you want to make your comparison, you should first of all be sure that the material facts that you are putting on ground are the same. Otherwise, you cannot just say, how can you spend this amount of money for 3 flyovers? That is the height of ignorance. And we are happy that our people have been able to respond by what I told you earlier. And when they said, and they were very clear, that Sheriff, they show workings, not be cho-cho-cho.
All right. I mean, talking about train workings, recently also the governor of the state won the Governor of the Year award, you know, and this did obviously generate reactions. Part of the reason why he won the award for exceptional fiscal discipline and infrastructural development in the state. You also did mention that his administration has not borrowed money to execute projects, and they, you know, pay in advance. But I would like you to speak on how the government also ensures accountability of the funds, you know, used to ensure that, you know, situation of corruption or embezzlement is nipped. So what mechanisms are in place?
What has now a defining philosophy of the Oborevwori administration is the constant inspection of all projects. Those inspections are not just media shows. Oborevwori goes to the projects. He sees that Deltans are getting value for money. We take a look at those projects along the lines of what has been marked, not only for the construction of those projects, but to ensure that the construction is also flowing along the lines of either the bill of engineering measurement and evaluation in the case of construction works in the road sector, or the bill of quantities as in the case of housing. All these things that we are doing, visiting these projects, is not for show. It's to make sure that the contractors or some civil servants who may want to connive with them are not shortchanging the state. That's one. Secondly, when you also come up with a bill in terms of preparing for a particular award of contract, the governor himself gets involved in the scrutiny to ensure that our rates are not such rates that anybody will take advantage of us. We examine the quantities that you are going to deploy in the construction of either that road. What I mean by quantities is that when you want to construct a road, you take a look at what they call the pavement width, as in the width of that road. Is it going to be 7.3 meters? Is it going to be 8 meters? In terms of whether the binder or which is the first layer of asphalt, or the wearing course, which is the second layer of asphalt. When you determine all that vis-a-vis the length of that road, and then of course, you look at the depth in terms of the thickness of the asphalt and the thickness of the base course, that is the what we call the cross stones. Once you examine all of them, you also go ahead to look at whether you are going to do a whole lot of soil replacement, in which case you are going to remove a whole lot of unsuitables and replace them with either sharp sand or lateritic filling.
Okay.
All these things, we go and scrutinize them to ensure that the amount that we are marking for each project is not so that anybody must have gone ahead to front load or rather load some of these quantities I have mentioned. So that, but my brother, in data today, being led by Oborevwori and his philosophy, we are ensuring that every project gives value to the people of Delta. And I can assure you that once you come to Delta, you will see that indeed it's a new dawn under the Oborevwori administration. All
right. Just, for clarity, away from the workings of the governor, just for clarity, I mean, there was some time, early this year, rumors that Governor Shariff might defect from the People's Democratic Party, even though, this was kind of laid to rest, that he still remains with the PDP. My question to you is, has he shifted grounds on this?
Shifts to where? Oborevwori is very busy with governance. Those who are coming up with those stories, they should tell us that they are in love with the performance of our governor, and as such, they want to tell stories that will either fuel their ranks. We don't want to, we have said we don't want to get involved in some of those political talks. The governor at the moment is very much concerned about the promises he made to the people and he's delivering along the lines of his agenda.
It still remains a strong member of the PDP. Is that what you're saying?
What we are doing now is concentrating on our projects. We don't want to get involved in all those distractions where individuals are talking about shifting from one place to the other. The man is concentrating on governance, and that's what he's doing at the moment. It's only those who are very much...
So what party does he belong to at the moment? What party does he belong to?
He has always been a PDP member. He's a PDP governor elected on the platform of the PDP, and at the moment he's also very much a PDP governor, and a good one at that.
All right. Just before I let you go, what would be your message to the former Deputy Senate President, Senator Omo-Agege?
The governor and our people in Warri have already responded. Our brothers and sisters in Warri have said it, that Sheriff, they show workings, not be cho-cho-cho. Cho-cho-cho means it's not just talking here and there. What the governor is doing is to make it very clear what he's doing, and the people are seeing it. It's very, very practical. And so the governor will continue along that line. I already just mentioned a few of the projects that we are carrying out in some of in the Southern Senatorial District. As I speak to you, there's a stretch of road which is about 147-kilometer dual carriage that is almost being completed. It was started by previous administration, but Oborevwori is pursuing it vigorously, to the extent that one of the very critical sections of that road, where you have the Ubu Bridge along Ogwashuku corridor, is already completed. And so, for us, we just want anybody who wants to challenge Oborevwori to mention those issues. Let them take us to local government. When they take us to senatorial districts, they make our job too simple to be able to put it on the floor what Oborevwori is doing. If you want to challenge us, just go ahead and say, what are you doing in this local government? And then we'll reel it out. So, but when they go and begin to talk about senatorial district, they make the mathematics too simple for us, because there are a whole lot of projects that Oborevwori is carrying out in all the senatorial districts.
So in all of this, Delta, I mean, you've said a lot about your principle. You have said a lot about your principle, but in one sentence, what would be your message to the former Deputy Senate President, Senator Omo-Agege? In one sentence.
We are saying the man should move away from the path of ignorance. Let him seek knowledge. When he seek knowledge, you are informed. If he seek knowledge and he means well, given the level that he has gotten to in politics, he will understand that the path he's taking cannot fetch him anything. Because number one, if you say Oborevwori is not doing anything, the people you are talking to live in those communities. They see those projects, they see the schools, they see the hospitals, they see the housing projects, they see the roads. They are also involved in the empowerment that we're doing. Their brothers and sisters are involved. So how can he progress along that line? So we are advising him not to continue to progress in error, because doing so does not add any credit to him. And he is our son. We don't want our son to go out there when we believe that death are not the carry last, to go out there and demonstrate that level of ignorance about what's happening in their state. Otherwise, even you, Dapo, you're good enough, your correspondent in Delta, Azu, is one very sound journalist. I am sure many a time he has filed report about the several milestones that is being recorded in data. So when the man comes and says he's not doing anything, you begin to wonder, is it not the same data? And so please help us advise him that it is better not to demonstrate that level of ignorance in talking about the activities of Oborevwori in data.
All right, Mr. Charles Aniagwu, thank you so much for your time on the program. It's been a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you, Dabo. Thank you, Dabo. I also count it a privilege to be part of your show this evening.